Hey everyone, how's everyone doing today? So I hope you've all enjoyed a really good weekend, and something I've been doing over the weekend is getting stuck into this book. Men are like waffles, women are like spaghetti. Now, I've mentioned this book on my channel previously. I didn't get a chance to read it, and what I thought I'm going to do is I'm going to read chapters by chapters, and then I'm going to break them down into different videos, because so far I've only read up to chapter 3 and there's so much useful information in there. The reason I came across this book in the first place was because I saw so many book reviews on YouTube about it. People were saying it's a really useful way of understanding the differences between communication between men and women. So I'm just going to read you a few excerpts from the book that I've taken, and then I'm going to discuss them. So in chapter 1, the book says, despite the frustration, the vast majority of us have an undeniable desire to have great relationships with the opposite sex. We want both male and female friends. We want successful business relationships with men and with women, and we want marriages that are happy and harmonious. This is why so many of our decisions are affected by how the opposite sex will respond. So what I'm taking from that is that because we want relationships in our lives so much, how we respond and how we communicate is normally censored, if you like, and we kind of want to please the person. Now, this is fine, and this is like a good thing, really. It's positive that we want to please our partners, our friends, and we want to interact in a positive way with the opposite sex. However, as the book talks about, we communicate differently. So the issue comes in because we will kind of change the way that we communicate because we think that's what the other person wants from us, and then it all just becomes a mess, and the communication is then diluted and it becomes just confusing. So this is like another part of the book really that's really important, which is the name of the book, Men Are Like Waffles, Women Are Like Spaghetti. So it breaks down the description of how men are more like waffles. So a waffle is basically like lots of boxes or compartments. So it says here that men process life in boxes. The typical man lives in one box at a time. We call it compartmentalizing. This is separating life and responsibilities into different compartments. Being box orientated, men are problem solvers by nature. Men talk they take a success approach to communication. So if they believe they can successfully talk with their wife and reach a desirable outcome, they'll be motivated to have a conversation. So when they say things like, can you get to the point, or is this conversation going anywhere, what they're trying to do is help you get to the point so that they can then find a solution. Now this is really, really interesting stuff to me, because I'll talk about how women are like spaghetti next, but understanding how men communicate is major. Now, it doesn't mean all men communicate in the same way. This might not apply to absolutely every man on the planet. This is a generalisation. But if you think about it, the authors of the book are a married man and wife. So they're both putting their input. It's not just one perspective, it's from a male and female perspective. So what they're saying there is that because men put things into compartments, if they're talking about one thing, then that's what they want to focus on at that point in the conversation. And that makes a lot of sense. But as a woman, I'm even guilty of this myself. Sometimes I'll be talking about one thing and then I'll think it connects to something else. And then by the end of the conversation, there's times where even I don't know what was the point of that. Did I get what I wanted out of it? Did I say everything? Because it's just a natural thing. We have a natural tendency, not all women again, but a lot of women, to want to make sense of things. So we need to do this long story and this long conversation part. So that's what it says about women. It says that women process information more like pasta. Lots of individual noodles all connecting with each other. Most women will link together logical, emotional, rational and spiritual things. So in a conversation with a woman, whereas with the man, he's focusing on one thing at a time. He's in his one compartment, you know, let's get to the point of this so that we can then look at a solution to it. A woman will sometimes just be talking because she wants to explore, go into more depth, go on this journey. So it says that the difference in style often creates stress for couples, because whilst the woman is making all types of connections, going from box to box, the man is trying to keep up with the conversation. So the woman is talking about, an example I gave in the last video was about housework. So maybe socks are always on the floor, or the toilet seat is always up, or this is something that's bothering the woman deep down. Rather than just saying, can you please pick up your socks because it bothers me when they're on the floor. End of conversation. The man knows, I need to pick up my socks because it's bothering my wife. The wife or woman might kind of go into a big detail. Why don't you ever pick up your socks? It really makes me, oh, I wish you'd help with the housework. And then it starts off with that, then it goes on to other things. You know, you don't love me, you don't care about me, you're always inconsiderate, you don't have any thoughts. I bet when you were in another relationship, you did this for your ex, didn't you? And blah, blah, blah. And then it turns into something more than what it started off as being. Now, to the woman, she's probably been holding on to a lot of thoughts and feelings that just hasn't been expressed. So in this one conversation, it's all coming out. So it's all interconnected, you know. She knows deep down, this is what I've been thinking. I've been wanting to say this for a while. I'm going to say it now. Whereas the man is still on the one box of pick up your socks. So it's saying that how can you work in this situation? The book says, as a couple, to make the communication work, you need to take turns, and you also need to let a woman and finish where she's going on this journey. You don't have to, it's going to be hard sometimes for a man to just sit there and probably think, oh, this is another conversation, this woman's going on and on and on and on. So the compromise there is also for a woman to try to also think how it feels for that man. So have some empathy, and if you can, like, stay on track with what you're talking about. So it's about both parties looking at how they communicate and altering it just slightly. I don't think, the book has never said at any point that a woman is going to be able to stop communicating in the way that we do, because it is saying that we are like spaghetti. So what an alternative is, instead of like offloading all the time onto your man, then possibly think about talking with other girlfriends, you know, and family members who are female, because they'll process the information the same. You know, when you get a group of girls together, we'll all talk about things for ages. We could talk about makeup, clothes, and go into like lots of detail. Whereas a man doesn't want to like hear all